Hey y'all, Nathan Dunsing here with Mossy Oak. Gonna be making a venison ragu with pasta. I love using stew meat for things like this. You know, this a lot of times goes in deer sausage. You know, I think this is a great way to utilize it in a little bit different way. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna brown off the venison. You wanna make this dish in a Dutch oven that you're gonna cook it all the way through. I say that because you wanna develop the flavors in that dish. We're not wanting to cook the meat all the way through. We're just wanting to, again, get the outside browned up, develop some flavor on the outside. Okay, so we've been just kind of browning this venison meat up. We're actually gonna remove the meat out of the bowl. Turn it down to medium heat. We're gonna add a little bit more olive oil. And in goes your onions. It's got medium diced onions. We're gonna let those cook in the pan. They become translucent. And as those onions start to cook and release moisture, you're gonna see some of the, what's called bond, the browning on the bottom of that pan start to come up. And again, that just adds so much flavor to the dish. Once those onions become soft, translucent, then we're gonna add some bell pepper, some green bell pepper. I like to cut a larger dice with the bell pepper. With the onions, I want them to cook down in the sauce, so whenever you're eating the pasta, you don't necessarily see the onions, but you get to taste the flavor of the onion. A little bit of garlic goes in as well. Next, we're gonna add some herbs. So we've got thyme and oregano. We're just gonna add that to it. Next, as the vegetables are done sauteing, we're gonna add in, deglaze the pan with red wine. So I'm gonna let that reduce by about half. All right, now that the wine's reduced, we're going to add the tomato paste. And stir it in with the wine. And I'm just gonna let that cook for about a minute. Now we're gonna add the meat back to the pan. And then to that, we're gonna add diced tomatoes. And you can use, again, beef stock, bone broth, chicken stock, whatever you have, whatever you prefer to use, and 1 bay leaf. I'm gonna put it in an oven, or I'm using my grill today. So I'm gonna put it in with no lid, just let it go to 275 degrees and just let it braise away. And this is gonna take several hours. It really depends on what you're using. But again, you're just gonna cook it until it's fork tender when it comes out. So the ragu's been in the smoker for about 2.5 hours at 275 degrees. I'm gonna check on it, see if it's ready to go. So you can see the sauce is reduced down. That's why I like to cook this without a lid on it, because you want that braising liquid to kind of cook out as it cooks. So I'm just gonna take this basil, roll it up, and we cut it really thin strips. It's called chiffonade. We're gonna take all that, I'm gonna toss it right in there with that ragu. I've actually cooked this pretty much till it's done, and then I'm just gonna fold it into the ragu. And it may not need it all, it just depends on how much it's reduced down and how much it'll take. You don't want it to be all pasta either. You know, you really want the venison ragu to be the kind of shining star. And just to help the sauce kind of coat the pasta a little bit, I'm gonna add just a touch of butter. All right, so once this is, the pasta is well incorporated, looks like there's enough sauce for it all. We're gonna take this off the heat, pile it up on a share plate here. And then I'm just gonna garnish this with a little bit, this basil right out of the garden. It's just perfect. So I'm just gonna take some of the smaller leaves and garnish it up. All right, so that's our venison ragu with rotini pasta and some fresh basil.